So in this week's Torah portion, Vayeshev, I want to focus on one thing. I want to focus on the gift that Jacob makes for his favorite son, Joseph, a kutonet pasim. Now we know that a kutonet is a tunic, right? So it's an item of clothing. We don't know what pasim is. Some commentators say it's, that it was striped. Some say it was colorful. Some say that it was very exquisite. But my question is a simple one. This is the first instance, and in fact it's one of the only instances in the Bible, to my mind, that the Torah stresses the fashion of the clothing. Right? We're told that people get dressed, we're told people put on clothing, but here we're told something about the item of clothing. Why does it have to tell us kutonet pasim? Why did it have to tell us that it's either this unique fabric or it's this striped fabric? Why do we need this? And it gets even more interesting when we look at the other time or the other character in the Bible that wears a kutonet pasim. Now let's first finish with Joseph. So we know with Joseph that it's a terrible ending for this item of fashion, because as a result of what this item of clothing resembles, there's all this hate between the brothers, there's a great divide, and they bring it back to Jacob, and it's full of blood, and say, he's dead, we're sorry, and the rest is history. So there is a very negative connotation between this specific item of high quality / striped clothing and what happened. Now let's move to the next bit. The next time it appears is in the house of David, King David. King David has a daughter called Tamar, and she's got a half-brother, Amnon, who lusts her. He rapes her, and then when she flees the room, either he gives her, what he has in the room there is a kutonet pasim. She goes out wearing the very same name, this fashion item that Joseph, that brought upon him all this bad, and she wears all this, these perils, and she wears the same thing. So one has to ask themselves, if our question is, why kutonet pasim? Why does the Torah want to tell me that? Why not just say that Jacob loved Joseph, he made him a special jumper, a special cardigan? Why tell me it's a kutonet pasim? And why does it appear once more with Tamar, who's been raped by her half-brother in the house of David? And some see what happened to Tamar as a result of David being punished because of his whole wanting Bathsheba and sending out her husband Uriah to the first front of battle. Interestingly, by the way, Tamar makes levivot, but that's just sort of in brackets. So what can we do with these two supposedly separate incidents that sort of common denominator is that it's a kutonet pasim? And I'll tell you what are my 2 cents worth. In one case, we're talking about the house of Joseph. In another case, we're talking about the house of King David. We have here which are the 2 symbols of Mashiach, the 2 symbols of political governance amongst the Jewish people. And in both cases, I think we are being told, I think this is a lesson for the leaders of the Jewish people. Don't be arrogant, right? This beautiful clothing, thinking you're better than others. Do not be arrogant. And what's even worse, with arrogance comes the want to lead, the want to stay in power. Don't try and divide my people. The Jewish people never try and divide themselves. It's the leaders that have always tried to divide themselves. And I think Joseph's kutonet pasim and Tamar's kutonet pasim is a sign for the leaders of the Jewish people. If you want good times, don't try and write like the pasim, like the stripes. Don't try and divide the Jewish people. Keep them a whole. Thoughts on the kutonet pasim and the Torah portion of Vayeshev? Shabbat Shalom.